Nigeria's Minister of Education, Dr. Almaroof Olatunji Alausa, has clarified that mathematics and English remain core courses in secondary schools and are to be taken as part of secondary school leaving certificate examination or examinations. But mathematics is not a requirement for those applying for courses that are not related to mathematics in our tertiary academic institutions. So, and that is good because some basic knowledge of mathematics helps somebody through life. Yeah, because you always encounter mathematical issues to be resolved, and it helps when you have some basic knowledge of mathematics. But when it comes to applying for studies in arts and the humanities that are not related to mathematics, mathematics is not a requirement. For instance, to do history or language, any language, religious studies, performing arts, humanity studies like that are in the realm of arts and not science have no need for mathematical knowledge or certificate. So that clarification has been made by the Education Minister, Dr. Almaroof Olatunji Alausa. But speaking to the Post, the daily newspaper, the Post, in its edition of Sunday, October 19, 2025, Professor Ishaq Ọlanrewaju Oloyede, the registrar of the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, is quoted as saying that the decision was taken by the Ministry of Education after consultations with stakeholders and gathering data, coming to the conclusion that mathematics should be excluded for applicants for arts and humanity studies. But he added something which is very crucial. And let me quote from him. He says, the decision to remove mathematics was taken by the Federal Ministry of Education in order to tackle forgery and realign policy with reality. That's the vital issue there. In order to tackle forgery and align policy with reality. The reality that somebody coming to do historical studies, religious studies, linguistic studies don't need mathematics, and so on don't need mathematics. Performing arts don't need mathematics. So that is aligning policy with reality of life, which is highly commendable. And some of us were taken aback when it was decided in some academic quarters. Some of us were even scandalized that university administrators and senate and the rest of them could accept that type of policy to impose mathematics on anybody coming to the tertiary academic institution for whatever, including Arabic studies, English studies, religious studies. So please, let us always be reasonable in whatever decision we take and impose on common people unreasonable policies just because you are in power. Just because you are in power. Somebody apply for Arabic, somebody apply for Christian studies or Islamic studies or African traditional religious studies, and you say he must have mathematics to do what with it? So, aligning policy with reality. Now, let us apply what Professor Oloyede has said to other areas of our life. You know that by removing mathematics that is not necessary from the neck of people in arts and humanity studies, that you foreclose forgery in that respect. Why not apply the same principle to imposing computer-based tests on secondary school leavers, which secondary schools in villages, towns, and communities without electricity, let alone computer knowledge, network, and we have innumerable towns, villages, and communities without electricity. Not to talk of erratic electricity, even where you supposedly have electricity. Weeks and months without electricity in some places, in many places I should say. So, but with a particular reference to towns and villages and communities without electricity, and so none in their grammar schools, and without providing electricity, computer training, and data, or what do you call it, network, yet you close your eyes and say computer-based test for all applicants for the unified tertiary matriculation examination. The crises are there, the hardships are there, the glitches are there. You close your eyes to all of that, and now government is following your footstep to impose computer-based tests on secondary schools leaving certificate examinations, notwithstanding lack of electricity, network, and computer. So that means that you are encouraging forgery, going by your realization, by not imposing mathematics on students who don't need it, they will not be tempted to go into forgery. So what of when you impose computer-based tests on applicants for the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, on students coming from villages and towns and communities without electricity to start with, not to talk of operating computer? How do you talk of network where there is no electricity? So that is the takeaway, food for thought. Well, if I say for Professor Oloyede and others, I'm not missing words, because it's key as the registrar of the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board conducting the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination and imposing computer-based tests on children who may never have seen computer in their life because of the circumstances of their life. The prevailing situation in Nigeria. And now government wants to use your example to impose computer-based tests on all secondary schools, school leaving students in Nigeria. You don't see the mountain of hardship, of agony, of struggle, of glitches. No. So, truth is like smoke. However you cover it, it will peter out. It has petered out now in the realization that by not imposing mathematics on applicants for courses that have nothing to do with mathematics, you foreclose forgery. Come to our schools, tertiary academic institutions. You see students who cannot construct basic English sentence correctly, meaning that God knows how they got the qualifications, the required documents qualifications. So, not that forgery can be totally prevented, but when you don't give room to it, it's minimized. But when you create room for it, imposing computer-based tests on children who never saw computer, who don't even have electricity in their villages and communities. Anyway, this has come out, and government, everybody should repent on what we are doing to people, because we are in power and we don't want to know their own circumstance and condition.